Hello, welcome to Unlocking Buddhism. In this quiet moment, turn your attention inward to the silent landscape of your own experience. Breathe gently, letting the breath anchor you to this present time and space. As you settle, bring mindful awareness to a basic human truth, the continual dance between our inner world and the shifting outer conditions. Consider the nature of our journey. Life is a road of rises and descents that touch the core of our being. We meet affirmation, praise, approving glances, successes that lift us. In those moments, we feel carried by a gentle wind, steps lighter, mind clearer, a quiet joy rippling through us. We naturally embrace these experiences, wishing them permanent. We feel seen, validated, perhaps complete. The world seems to align with our deepest hopes. Yet the currents can shift quickly. The same world that uplifted us can offer its opposite: criticism, subtle or sharp, perceived failure, outcomes that disappoint. Then the lightness fades, and a heaviness takes hold, a sinking that pulls us down. Our spirits droop, the mind clouds with doubt or hurt, unease settles. We recoil, push these feelings away, wish them gone. We may feel unseen or inadequate. The world seems harsh or indifferent. Observe, without judgment, how readily our inner state is swayed by external events. How our sense of self, peace, or disturbance becomes tangled with praise or blame. We are like a small boat on a vast ocean, tossed by every wave, lifted by crests, plunged into troughs. One moment basking in warmth and security, the next shrinking under the chill of disapproval, vulnerable and exposed. This oscillation shapes much of our lived experience and defines for many the rhythm of inner life. Pause and ask gently, is this constant motion, this responsiveness to external conditions, conducive to lasting peace? Can true tranquility be found when our well-being depends on forces beyond our control, on others' opinions, on fortune's winds? The highs are pleasant but fleeting, leaving longing or fear. The lows are painful yet impermanent, their sting sowing worry. This cycle of reliance on the external keeps us in subtle agitation, striving for pleasantness and avoiding unpleasantness. This is an invitation to see a deeper truth, the profound impact that currents of praise and undertows of criticism have on the fragile balance of our inner world. Let us look at how our peace can be affected, even dictated, by forces outside ourselves. As we observe this dance between inside and out, another question may arise. Is there another way? Might we navigate this sea not as a boat at the mercy of every wave, but as a lighthouse, firm, steady, its light shining despite storms? This journey is not about stopping waves or silencing storms. Such is existence. It is an exploration of finding a more stable inner ground, a quiet strength and presence that remains undisturbed amid turbulence. It invites discovery of a freedom beyond fleeting highs and lows, a peace not dependent on shifting opinions or unpredictable events. Open yourself to this inquiry with curiosity and kindness. We are not escaping the world, but learning to engage from greater wisdom and serenity. Let us begin together, with open hearts and receptive minds. Carrying this intention of wisdom and serenity, bring to mind a different image, a metaphor to illuminate our journey. Picture yourself a lone traveler on an ancient road. It is not a straight highway, but a sinuous path that winds and turns, revealing itself moment by moment. It constantly shifts, mirroring the unpredictable terrain of our existence. As you walk, observe how the path unfolds. Sometimes the sun warms your face, bathing the road in golden light. These are moments of ease, simple joy. The ground feels smooth, inviting. You might pass a verdant meadow where breezes stir the leaves, or a murmuring stream reflecting the sky. In such stretches, steps feel light, the mind clear, and a quiet well-being suffuses you. We tend to embrace these moments, wishing them to linger, desiring that warmth and ease become permanent. We cling to contentment, tightening around the idea that things will remain pleasant, and quietly fearing their loss. The heart expands, yet a silent fear may stir. Yet the winding road will lead you into shadow. The light may dim, the air cool, and the path become less clear, rugged, uneven. These are moments of challenge, discomfort, uncertainty. You may traverse sharp stones or slippery mud, demanding careful steps. The The way might climb steeply, or descend into a valley where the view is obscured. Then the mind clouds with worry, the body tires, the heart contracts with unease. We habitually resist these shadows, yearning for the sun, pushing away the effort required. We recoil from roughness, wishing for escape, creating an inner struggle against reality. Notice, without judgment, how readily the traveler within you responds. When the path is sunlit, is there subtle grasping for comfort to never end, a fear that pleasantness will vanish? When the path becomes rough, is there aversion, a wish for difficulty to disappear? This dance of preference and resistance, clinging to pleasant, recoiling from unpleasant, is fundamental to the human condition. The road simply is, but our reaction colors the experience. The bend ahead might conceal a sunlit vista or a shadowed grove. No map fully charts its momentary texture. No prophecy reveals when smooth will turn rough. We cannot predict the exact moment of success or challenge. Thus, the traveler is invited to meet the unknown with quiet attentiveness. This unpredictability teaches release from the need for control and invites embracing the unfolding moment. How then journey wisely? Lament the shadows, cling to memories of the sun, fear rough patches, imagining a smoother route that does not exist? Or might another internal posture allow greater peace? The inquiry is not about changing the road, it simply is, but about understanding the traveler, the mind and heart that perceive and react to each step. Consider the traveler's internal posture. When the sun shines, does the heart expand in grateful acceptance, allowing warmth without attachment? Or does it tighten in fear of loss, already anticipating darkness? When shadows fall, does the spirit despair, or find a quiet resolve, a strength to endure, recognizing that shadows hold lessons? The quality of our journey depends not solely on the path, but on the attitude we bring to each step. The road's sinuous nature reflects the fluidity of our inner states. Joy yields to sadness, energy to fatigue, clarity to confusion. As the road bends, so do our emotions. In observing this movement, wisdom blooms. Recognizing impermanence outside and within, we can find deeper stability. Imagine your journey as one of awareness. Each change, the patch of sun, the stretch of shadow, the smooth surface, the rough stone, becomes an opportunity for deeper seeing. When the sun is bright, can you feel its warmth without clinging, acknowledging its pleasantness and transience? When shadow deepens, can you meet the coolness without resistance, navigate uneven ground with patience, bringing calm attention to each step, rather than frustrated yearning? This inquiry invites cultivating a presence not swayed by conditions. Walk with a heart that remains steady, a mind clear, regardless of what the road presents, an inner equilibrium, not dependent on the external, like a seasoned traveler who knows all conditions are temporary and does not lose footing or peace. Such a traveler cultivates steadiness, knowing sun will follow shadow and shadow light. Smooth ground rough, rough ground smooth. To resist one aspect is to resist life. To cling to another invites disappointment. True freedom lies not in controlling the path, but in embracing it wholly. This is not a call to apathy, but to engagement. Observe the road and your responses. When a rough patch appears, the conditioned mind might label it discomfort and seek escape. But what if we simply register roughness and bring gentle, open attention to sensations? What if, when the sun warms us, we feel the warmth fully without anxiety about its passing? Meeting what is, without adding preference, judgment, or aversion, transforms the journey. The external road remains with sun and shadow, smooth and rough. Yet the traveler's inner experience changes. Less inner struggle, less agitation, more presence, a deeper well of calm and resilience. This is the beginning of wisdom. We cannot dictate the terrain, but we can choose how we walk and meet each moment. As the road winds on, indifferent to preference, the traveler's inner landscape, once a mirror of every external undulation, can find stillness, a stable center. This stillness is not denial of joys or challenges, but a capacity to hold them within larger awareness, a spaciousness of mind and heart. Beneath changing experience, there is a bedrock of peace, accessible to those who cultivate it through mindful attention. So as you walk this imagined path or your daily life, let the metaphor guide introspection. When ease comes, observe joy, feel its lightness. then release clinging. When difficulty appears, observe discomfort, feel its sensations, then open to the raw experience without resistance. This is the art of traveling mindfully, turning each step into an opportunity for understanding, deepening inner peace, and discovering liberation. The path is simply the path. Our journey is defined by how we choose to be with it, with an open heart and receptive mind. This understanding invites a shift. If the path itself, its easy stretches and harsh stones, joy and sorrow, unfolds regardless of our wishes, where do we find footing? The seasoned traveler learns that trying to control the landscape, demanding endless sun or removing every rough stone, is futile, the source of persistent dissatisfaction. The road will turn, offering new vistas and trials with an impartiality that is simply the nature of existence. It does not bend to our preferences or pause for our discomfort. Its essence is change, a ceaseless flow of becoming and passing. To wish it otherwise is to live in subtle, steady resistance. Wisdom lies not in mastering the terrain, which is beyond our command, but in mastering our response. This mastery is not suppression of difficulty, but a gentle cultivation of inner stability. It is an inward turn from the vast, unpredictable outer road to the intimate space of our own step. Each footfall, each breath, becomes an anchor, drawing awareness back to the present and to the internal process. Here, our agency resides, not in altering conditions, but in shaping the inner environment where those conditions are met. Return to the breath. On a steep climb, when the body tires and the mind clamors for rest, the breath remains a steady rhythm if we attend to it. In a shadowed valley, when unease arises, the breath is a quiet companion, reminding us of our capacity for stillness. This moment-to-moment presence with the breath is not escape, but deeper engagement, an engagement from inner calm. It lets us observe the landscape without being swept away, feel the wind without becoming the wind, see the stones without being overwhelmed by their roughness. True peace does not arise from absence of challenges. The imagined world of perpetual ease exists only in fantasy and breeds disappointment. Instead, peace is found in calm, focused attention on our steps, regardless of external conditions. Mindfulness is the light illuminating the ground beneath our feet, even when the vista is obscured. It is the inner compass directing us toward equanimity, letting us traverse life's terrains with an open heart and clear mind. Shifting focus from controlling the road to cultivating presence on it is liberation. It frees us from the exhausting struggle against the inevitable, from trying to reshape reality to fit desires. It invites a harmonious relationship with life as it unfolds. When the way is sunlit, we enjoy joy without clinging. When it turns rough, we meet difficulty with quiet resolve, not aversion, knowing it will pass. Each moment, pleasant or unpleasant, offers insight into impermanence and builds inner resilience. This is ongoing practice. Minds will wander. We will forget our step and be caught again in external currents. This human condition meets not with harsh self-criticism, but gentle understanding. We acknowledge distraction and, with soft awareness, return to the present, to breath, to the feet on the ground. Each return strengthens the muscle of mindfulness, reaffirming our commitment to inner peace. Its beauty is universality. Whether the path is smooth or rough, whether we receive praise or blame, gain or loss, the practice remains. Cultivate a mind spacious enough to hold all experience without judgment or attachment, an open sky receiving sun and rain. When fully present with each step and breath, we find an unshakable ground, a peace not born from absence of storms, but from stillness within them. This continuous befriending of what is not indifference but wise engagement. Joy arises without desperate clinging. Sorrow is met without overwhelming despair. Both are held within the spacious awareness anchored in the present, focused on inner posture. The outer road twists and turns, but the traveler within discovers lasting peace, deepening with each mindful step, transforming the journey from struggle into a dance of acceptance. The heart of the matter is not the road, but how we walk it, moment by moment, breath by breath, with an open heart and receptive mind. In our continual exploration of the path and the unfolding landscape of existence, we arrive at a deeper understanding of the forces shaping experience. In quiet contemplation, we turn to what ancient teachings call the 8 worldly winds. These are not literal winds, but pervasive dualities that stir the inner world. Pleasure and pain, gain and loss, praise and criticism, fame and disrepute. To acknowledge them is to recognize the fabric of our human condition, not obstacles to be eradicated, but intrinsic, unavoidable phenomena. These currents touch every life without exception. We often live driven by a subtle desire to experience only the pleasant while avoiding the unpleasant. We chase pleasure and recoil from pain, seek gain and fear loss, welcome praise and shrink from criticism, yearn for fame and dread disrepute. This habit of grasping at one pole and resisting the other breeds much of our suffering and inner agitation. That clinging and aversion create internal turbulence, a restless striving that blocks true peace. Imagine a boat on the ocean, caught between 2 currents and pulled in opposing directions. Such is the mind swayed by these winds. When pleasure arises, we grasp, wishing it to last, sowing seeds of future disappointment, for pleasure is impermanent. When pain comes, we resist, amplifying and prolonging our discomfort. This dance of attraction and repulsion prevents settling into steady presence. Wisdom invites us not to escape these winds. They are inescapable, but to see them clearly. They are not personal rewards or attacks from a benevolent or malicious universe. They are the nature of phenomena, arising and passing in ceaseless flow. Pleasure and pain are sensations. Gain and loss are changes. Praise and criticism are opinions. Fame and disrepute are perceptions. None possess an enduring self or fixed reality. They are transient, conditioned, empty of permanent essence. To understand these dualities is to observe them without judgment, meeting them with a calm, discerning mind. When pleasure comes, can we acknowledge it without grasping? Can we feel its warmth without immediately wanting more or fearing its end? When pain appears, can we meet it with quiet acceptance without labeling it bad or wishing it gone? Can we observe the raw sensation, the tightness, the contraction, without the mental resistance that widens its sting? This contemplative stance changes our relation to universal experience. Suffering does not arise from the winds themselves, but from our reaction, our grasping and aversion, our identification with one side and rejection of the other, that fuel inner turmoil. The wind of criticism may sting, but it is our belief in it, our fear of its implications, that disturbs our peace. Without that reaction, criticism is simply sound, a collection of words, a passing event. The teaching is not a call to indifference or suppression of feeling. Joy will come with good fortune, sorrow with loss, natural responses. The invitation is to cultivate a spacious awareness that holds these experiences without being swept away, to develop an inner equilibrium, a stable center that remains undisturbed amid life's shifts. This stability is not rigid resistance but flexible resilience, allowing us to bend with the winds without breaking. Consider a tree, roots anchored, branches sway as wind passes, yet the trunk remains rooted. We can cultivate a similar inner stability, rooted awareness that lets the 8 worldly winds pass without losing balance. We can feel pleasure and pain, gain and loss, praise and criticism, fame and disrepute, without being defined by them. This requires gentle, persistent mindfulness. When praise arrives, notice the uplift and acknowledge it without grasping. Recognize its impermanence and let it pass like a cloud. When criticism comes, notice the contraction, the impulse to defend, and observe without identifying. Recognize its transience and allow it to pass without letting it define worth. Through such observation, we cultivate profound inner freedom. We cease to be prisoners of circumstances or others' opinions. Our peace depends less on the world's movements and more on our posture of spacious awareness. This is not caring, but non-attachment, releasing the grip of craving and aversion that binds us to suffering. The 8 worldly winds reveal a truth. Life is a tapestry of light and shadow, joy and sorrow. To deny one is to deny the whole. Our practice is to meet each thread with an open heart and discerning mind, transforming our relation to existence from reactivity to presence. Thus, each encounter, pleasant or painful, becomes practice, a chance to return to our anchor, to cultivate quiet, unshakable presence. Let us carry this insight forward. acknowledging these currents as part of the journey. Strive not to escape them, but to understand them, meeting them with awareness that is calm, clear, and compassionate. In this understanding lies liberation, a peace not conditioned by events but springing from deep, cultivated wisdom, a clarity that embraces all of existence with steady equanimity. Through cultivated clarity, we begin to perceive the mechanism of suffering within us, often concealed by desire and aversion. It is not merely pain, criticism, or loss that creates distress. Much suffering arises from our attachment to their opposites. When the sun warms us and we cling to that warmth, expecting it to last, we prepare the ground for a deeper chill when shadows fall. The more we grasp at pleasure, praise, security, or fame, the more vulnerable we become to inevitable change. All phenomena are impermanent. What rises falls, what gathers separates. Holding tightly to the agreeable sets the stage for sorrow when it dissolves or transforms. This is a central insight. Seeking permanence in the transient, or an absolute self in what is empty of self, generates a constant agitation. We expend energy prolonging pleasure and warding off pain, a tiring, futile war against the flow of existence. Clinging to positive poles, the joy of success, the comfort of acceptance, is a silent demand that life meet our desires, a demand that cannot be fully met. When these states recede, the mind conditioned by attachment meets a void, disappointment, a loss proportional to the intensity of its grasp. Between what we want and what is, suffering takes root. Consider water. If you clench your fist around a river, the water slips through, and your hand is left empty, perhaps aching. If you open your palm, the water flows, and you feel its coolness without resistance. When we encounter life's pleasant aspects, praise, gain, fleeting joy, equanimity invites us to experience them fully without a possessive grip. Appreciate the arising, recognizing its transience. This non-clinging lets us taste sweetness without dependence or building inner peace on shifting sand. When criticism, loss, or pain arise, a mind trained in non-attachment is less shaken. Having not tied its well-being to the permanence of the agreeable, it avoids the shock and deep disappointment of betrayal by existence. Instead, there is a quieter mind, a more stable heart. We observe unpleasant sensations, stinging words, and lack without amplifying them with resistance or self-identification. We allow them to be, recognizing them as natural fluctuations in the tapestry of experience, without judgment or elaborate narrative. Equanimity, upekkha in the ancient tongue, is not cold detachment or absence of feeling. It is vast, inclusive awareness, a balanced presence steady amid change. It neither leans toward pleasantness nor recoils from unpleasantness, but holds both with compassionate understanding. Imagine a spacious sky. Clouds gather and disperse, storms rage and subside, sun and moon alternate, yet the sky remains vast and unperturbed, accommodating all without being altered. Through equanimity, our mind can resemble this sky. Equanimity releases us from fluctuations that bind us. We are no longer tossed by the 8 worldly winds like a rudderless boat. We become a lighthouse, rooted and steadfast, its light steady despite storms. This stability is not rigid insensitivity, but dynamic balance, an inner freedom that allows full engagement with life, joy without intoxication, sorrow without overwhelm. Both arise within the vastness of awareness. To foster this serene mind, we practice gently and consistently. When a pleasant experience appears, a kind word, a moment of ease, we notice the pull to grasp and the wish for it to endure. With soft awareness, we acknowledge the tendency and release the grip, appreciating the moment without holding it. When unpleasantness appears, a critical thought, discomfort, we notice the impulse to resist and label it bad. With gentle awareness, we acknowledge and soften, allowing the sensation or thought to be present without adding aversion or commentary. We neither deny it nor let it define our peace. Repeated practice weakens patterns of grasping and aversion. With each conscious release, we deepen our inner peace. The mind grows less reactive, more spacious, able to see phenomena as transient, interdependent, and without permanent self. Life will continue to bring joy and sorrow, praise and criticism, gain and loss. This is existence. Yet our response, shaped by equanimity, shifts from habitual reaction to conscious, compassionate presence. In this transformation lies liberation, freed not from the world's conditions but from bondage to them. We are no longer dependent on external circumstances for peace. We discover an unshakable ground within, a stillness that transcends fluctuations of pleasure and pain. This serene mind, balanced and unperturbed, embraces existence with clarity and compassion, allowing us to walk the path with steady steps, whatever the terrain. This cultivated clarity, this balanced presence, now guides us toward a practical aim, an elegant and docile mind, not dulled or passive, but refined and responsive, able to observe its own workings with gentle, steady attention. An elegant mind moves with grace, sensing subtle currents without being swept away. A docile mind can be trained. It listens to wisdom born of practice rather than reflex. Through persistent, kind effort, it becomes pliable, adaptable, freed from rigid, conditioned responses. Turn your gaze inward, gently, to the everyday landscape of mental reaction. Observe from a quiet distance how the mind meets life. Recall a moment of praise, a kind word, acknowledgement, a success. Notice the subtle shift, a ripple of pleasure, a quiet expansion in the chest, a wish for the feeling to linger. Note these reactions without judgment, simply their presence and fleeting texture. This is the mind dancing with pleasantness, a dance that unobserved can harden into attachment. Now recall criticism or perceived failure, a sharp word, a misunderstanding, an unmet expectation. With the same gentle awareness, notice contraction, tightness in chest or stomach, defensiveness, a stir of hurt. Observe impulses to push the feeling away, to justify or escape. Do not engage the story of the criticism. Attend to the raw, immediate response. This is the mind recoiling from unpleasantness. Unobserved, it amplifies suffering and breeds agitation. Elegance is the capacity to witness these automatic responses without identifying with them. Docility is the willingness to learn from such observation, to soften attachment and aversion, and to guide the mind toward spacious awareness. We are not trying to erase these natural reactions. The first stirrings of pleasure or discomfort are part of experience. Rather, we cultivate a space around them, a conscious distance that lets us see them as passing phenomena, not defining truths. Treat self-observation as a quiet experiment. Each instance of praise or criticism becomes material for insight. When praise arrives, let it be a warm ray on the skin. Feel its pleasantness, acknowledge its temporariness, let it pass without bottling its warmth. Do not build inner peace on its fleeting presence. The sun will set. When criticism comes, let it be a cool breeze. Feel the chill, observe the urge to tighten, and allow it to move through without taking root. Words are sounds, opinions are perceptions, outcomes are transient. They do not diminish the intrinsic worth and peace that lie at your core. This observation reveals a crucial truth. External opinions, successes, and circumstances do not define our worth or inner peace. Our value is not conferred by approval, nor erased by disapproval. Inner peace is not a fragile bloom that wilts under criticism, or blooms only in praise. Instead, worth is inherent and ever-present, like deep, unmoving earth beneath shifting seasons. Peace can be accessed regardless of weather if we learn to draw from it mindfully. A docile mind distinguishes event from interpretation. Praise is external, elation is interpretation. Criticism is external, hurt is interpretation. The elegant mind sees this and recognizes that clinging to reactions, identifying with them, and mistaking them for permanence creates lasting disturbance. We cultivate this through gentle questioning. When praise uplifts, ask softly, "What is this feeling? Is it solid? Does it last? Is my worth dependent on it?" When criticism stings, ask, "What is this sensation? Is this me? Is this judgment a reflection of my essence?" These are not mere intellectual exercises, but invitations to felt understanding that steer the mind from habitual reactivity towards spacious discernment. This is compassionate, ongoing training. The mind will revert to old patterns. We will be caught in praise and blame. Each time we notice and return to observation, we strengthen the muscle of mindfulness. We do not chastise our humanness, but patiently guide the mind to know itself. With each return, it grows more elegant, more docile, more capable of holding experience with steady, peaceful presence. The aim is not indifference, but engagement from unshakable inner stability. we can appreciate kindness, learn from feedback, and pursue meaning without hinging our well-being on outcomes. Peace flows from within, an inexhaustible source enabling us to move through life with grace, wisdom, and calm. This is the essence of an elegant and docile mind, one that observes, learns, and finds freedom in the understanding that true peace is an inside matter, undisturbed by fleeting opinions and changing circumstances. This cultivated elegance and docility reorient how we meet life's flow. Instead of being tossed by currents of praise or disparagement, we find a stable anchor within. That anchor is not rigid resistance, but a flexible capacity to remain centered amid fluctuations. A quiet confidence in inherent worth, independent of outside assessment. Imagine your inner peace as a deep wellspring, ever-present and clear. Around it, the seasons change. Sometimes the sun warms the surface, sometimes clouds gather and rain stirs it. Yet the wellspring's depth and clarity remain untouched. So it is with our stability. Praise is sun on water, pleasant and illuminating, not the source. Criticism is rain. It ripples the surface but does not diminish depth. To foster this ground, return to the present moment again and again. The breath becomes a steady companion, a reminder of the anchor. Feel breath entering and leaving without altering its rhythm. Each inhalation and exhalation grounds you, bringing awareness back to now. This is not escape from the world, but a deeper engagement from stillness. When the mind strays, caught in memory of praise or worry of future criticism, gently guide it back to the breath. Do not scold. Acknowledge the distraction and softly redirect attention. This returning, repeated with kindness, strengthens the muscle of mindfulness. It trains the mind to be less reactive, more responsive, more able to abide in calm presence. The practice extends beyond formal meditation. In daily interactions, when a kind word arrives, notice the warmth without clinging. Recognize its transience, like a passing fragrance. Appreciate it, but do not let your peace depend on it. When a challenging comment or perceived slight arises, observe the first stirrings, the tightness, the quickened heart. Instead of reacting with defense or aversion, acknowledge these sensations. Allow them to be present without judgment or identification. They are clouds passing through the vast sky of awareness. They appear, move, and dissipate. Wisdom lies in discerning the external event from our internal reaction. Praise is sounds or words. Uplift is our interpretation. Criticism is sounds or words. Hurt or anger is our interpretation. Observing this distinction creates space and freedom. We are not passive recipients of external forces, but active participants in shaping inner experience. We cannot control the world's winds, but we can choose how to orient our sails. Cultivating serenity, regardless of conditions, is an act of self-liberation. Our well-being is no longer hostage to others' opinions, the shifting sands of success or failure, or the unpredictability of circumstance. Peace becomes intrinsic, nourished from within, a sustaining current through life's seasons. This does not breed indifference. Rather, it allows engagement from strength, clarity, and compassion. Learn to hear wisdom even in constructive criticism. When feedback comes, instead of reflexive rejection, approach it with discernment. Is there truth here, a chance for growth? If so, receive it with openness and use it, like a gardener pruning for healthier growth. This is not a search for validation, but cultivation of wisdom for the benefit of all. Conversely, beware empty praise. Pleasant though it is, unexamined flattery can inflate the ego and create false security vulnerable to loss. The balanced mind neither craves praise nor recoils from its absence. It recognizes both as fleeting, neither defining essence nor dictating state. The true guide is within, the awakened consciousness that observes, judges nothing, and abides in deep peace. This awakened consciousness becomes our steady guide, unswayed by worldly opinions or fortune's ebb and flow. It is the light that illuminates our path, the presence that recalls our inherent wisdom and compassion. By turning inward consistently, cultivating a calm, discerning mind, we strengthen that guide, allowing it to lead us through life's dance with grace. The path is not always easy, but with this inner anchor, we navigate each turn with an open heart, a clear mind, and a spirit at peace, regardless of the outer landscape. The waves of pleasure and pain, praise and criticism, rise and fall across the surface of a tranquil inner lake, while its profound depth remains untouched. This is the true refuge, a sanctuary of inner stability always available. Peace is not the absence of waves, but seeing them as surface phenomena, incapable of disturbing the immensity beneath. This wisdom invites a presence that neither clings to the pleasant nor recoils from the unpleasant, but observes, transcends, and abides in stillness. Envision this inner sanctuary, a lake of deep, reflective calm at your core. Feel its quiet strength. Imagine the surface, sometimes perfectly smooth, reflecting the clear sky of joy. A breeze of praise may ripple it. A sunbeam of pleasure may dance upon it. Acknowledge the beauty, appreciate its arrival, but observe without grasping or wanting permanence. These are transient reflections, beautiful, but not the lake's essence. The depth remains unmoved by passing gleams. Now picture the sky changing. Clouds of challenge may gather. Drops of criticism or moments of pain may disturb the surface. Winds of loss might stir waves. Shadows of unease might darken reflections. In these moments, observe without resistance. Do not fight the ripples or condemn the shadows. They are weather, appearing, dissolving. Feel the motion on the surface. Acknowledge the coolness, the temporary agitation. Beneath, the deep waters remain vast. The lake does not become the wave. It contains it within its breadth. Your inner sanctuary holds all experience without being defined or shaken by it. This practice cultivates equanimity, a balanced awareness that embraces phenomena without preference. It is not indifference. When pleasure arises, feel it fully. Savor its sweetness without attachment, knowing its impermanence. When pain or criticism appears, meet it with the same open awareness. Allow sensation, thought or feeling to be present without resistance or added judgment. Observe its arising, duration, and passing, and realize it too is transient and cannot diminish the deep, unwavering peace within. The tranquil lake represents the true self, awakened awareness, not subject to fleeting dualities. This refuge is built of presence and understanding, not stone. Here worth does not depend on external validation. Happiness is not hostage to perpetual pleasure, and peace is not threatened by inevitable pain or criticism. This inner ground lets us navigate life's turbulent waters with grace. We become like the lake, vast, deep, containing all experience without losing our essential nature. By repeatedly turning inward to this calm lake, the mind learns to rest in its natural peace. We strengthen the capacity to observe the 8 worldly winds, pleasure and pain, gain and loss, praise and criticism, as they sweep across life. We witness their coming and going like changing weather over the lake, and understand they are conditions, not truths about who we are. Our essence remains clear water, unmoved, inherently peaceful. This understanding is liberation. It frees us from the struggle to control circumstances or reactions. We cease to be tossed by every shift in fortune or opinion. Instead, we stand firm, rooted in inner stability, radiating quiet strength. This does not mean avoiding challenge or disengaging. Rather, it enables fuller engagement with greater wisdom and compassion, because our actions spring from genuine peace instead of reactivity. Let the image of the calm lake permeate you. Enjoy, remember the clear surface, and let pleasantness flow without clinging. In difficulty, remember the undisturbed depths, and let challenges ripple across the surface without unsettling your core. This is living from your inner sanctuary, a source of calm and the ultimate refuge in change. May you find this sanctuary within, and may it guide you always with wisdom, clarity, and compassion.